Sharing my screen again. Okay. So is it my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Universe. So somebody's asking while end of the session. So up to 300 degree Fahrenheit, which type of gloves should I use? I always suggest it is in a yes or no answer because uh, whenever you are selecting a PPE, it must be selected based on the type of the hazard and because it is differ from one workplace to one workplace. Some type of PPs are very specific to the activity. You have to choose, and also you have to also refer the manufacturer. So if we talk about chemicals, so definitely the supplier will give a high recommendation what type of gloves should be used for handling of those chemicals. Even they will give the material also, the grade of material, either PVC, nitrile, or polyvinyl, or other type of material. So it is always preferable to go with the supplier guided PPs or the manufacturer advised PP. Okay, that is a right solution while choosing. After that, while finalizing your specific brand, then you can choose the characteristics which we have discussed in our previous slides. Okay, these are the two main aspects we have to consider while selection of PPS. Okay. So yes, so regarding the foot and leg protection, so basically this foot and leg protection introduced to avoid the protection from the falling bodies and also from the exposure to the chemicals while you are handling any toxic chemicals or corrosive chemicals especially. So the typical risk will be handling of heavy materials or some type of caustics or corrosive liquids. Even wet conditions also a hazard, so we can't keep on continuously work at the wet conditions. Over a period of time we may get some fungi diseases or irritation, itching, etc. Then we have molten metals also. Some of the shoes will get arrived of molten metal protection as well. The common foot leg protection equipments are safety shoes, boots or leggings, or foot guards or leg guards. So leg guards and foot guards is also used for the grinders. So where they do engineering job, where the fine metal particles can enter into their shoes and it will causing itching because sharpness. And even some leg guards will be the cricket type or used also to protect the shins against the impact, knee pads, and also one by modes, uh, loofsmen, or other continual kneeling. Continual kneeling in the sense who always, especially in the industries, that is not the case. Kneeling in the sense putting your knees on the floor uh, to do a specific activity. That is not the case with most of the industrial activities. But we basically prefer the industrial type safety shoes as well as different types of rubber boots or also known as gum boots. And apart from that, we also use the leg guards where we can tie over the shoes to avoid the entering of such kind of fine particles. So when again for the selection this as well, the safety shoes and boots may be conductive or non-conductive or spark resistant. Rubber boots are useful to work in wet conditions. Steel toe boots against the impact and also puncture resistant soles to walk on surfaces having nails, sharp objects, etc. Even the shoes also, especially in the construction industries, these projected nails also high hazard in the industries. I have seen one of the company safety jogger. I'm not propounding. I have used these shoes. So they'll have a thin metal plate in between the sole, so that in case of any sharp object or nail, it will not penetrate throughout the sole. So those kind of protection, because it is different shoes I have seen. Even we have tested also by nailing the shoes. It will have a thin layer of steel metal sheet between the layers of the sole, so that we can avoid any puncture injuries. So when we say conductive shoes, so allowing training of static charges, again we have seen this topic, static electricity. It is especially very critical in the chemical industries, where it can create a spark in case of any hazardous atmosphere. It can leads to fire or explosion accidents. So when I say conductive, so whatever the amount of energy it is generated, it automatically drains off. It is not going to carry. So, if you remember uh, the controls of static electricity, either we can control at the generation. If you are not able to control, we can avoid the storage. And also, if you are not able to avoid the storage, at least we can try to avoid the accidental discharge. It means అంటే ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ మనము స్టాటిక్ ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీని జనరేట్ అవ్వకుండా ఆపగలగాలి. ఒకవేళ మనం ఆపలేకపోతే, సో యూ కెన్ take the same approach like hazard control hierarchy. First of all, we try to eliminate generation of static electricity. If you are not able to eliminate, we can try to avoid storing at the high volumes. If there also, if you are failed to do that, then also we can at least avoid accidental discharge. When I say accidental discharge, so it can create a spark where it can ignite the vapors or flammable mixture in the work atmosphere. So basically these conductive shoes are preferable, especially in the chemical industries, where we can avoid the static discharge. And also non-ferrous shoes reduce the possibility of friction, sparks, and also much useful in the fire and explosion prone areas. And the conductive footwear resist should not exceed 450 kilo ohms. Then conductive shoes are used where the floors are non-conductive and grounded, such as in the manufacturing of certain explosive components, while cleaning tanks that have contained solvents or any volatile hydrocarbons. That is nothing but where we have hazardous atmospheres. Then these shoes have conductive soles and also non-ferrous metal parts. So foundry works should wear gaiter or the Congress type of safety shoes, which have no fasterness or lashes or rapidly removable, which means it will not have any lace on that you will tie. So it is a kind of shoes. I mean, especially nowadays we can see without lace we are getting a shoes. So those kind of shoes we used to prefer in the foundry area. In case of any molten metal falls, immediately they can take it out. And the top of the shoes should be covered by the full pant, legs, or spats or leggings to keep out the molten metal. In this area also, they used to use the leg guards so that they can avoid the exposure. The next is body and skin fall protection. So when we say body protection, we'll again come across with different types of PPEs. So again, overalls or coveralls, vest, aprons, then jackets, complete head to toe protection, etc. Then aprons of different materials again use protection for against the blows or splashes, radiant heat, again flying particles, and pads used to protect shoulders and back from the bruises. Impervious clothing of rubber or any synthetic fibers are used for protective against water, moisture, dust, vapors, and liquid chemicals. And against nature of the potential hazard, degree of hazard involved in the nature of activities of the wearer. This completely depends on the type of hazard in your workplace. Against that, you choose the type of material. And although the complete coverage of the body and legs is not needed in many cases, unnecessary safety clothing may hamper the efficiency of the wearer. No compromise should be made with the strict safety requirements. This is also very important. So wherever the PP is required, there only we have to suggest. So if you are suggesting unnecessary clothing, so it will reduce the efficiency. Wherever it is not required, but there also is a simple example in office space. If you are asking to use the helmet, where it is unnecessary, or you are asking them office staff to use the PVC suit, which is not required. So that kind of decision making we should do. Wherever it is unnecessary, based on our risk assessments, we have to conclude so that the work efficiency will not go down. So when we say body protection, again asbestos combination suits, which are nowadays not available, hoods and also clogs, boots, gloves, again aprons, leggings, furnace mask, rubber aprons, hood combinations, etc. will be there. Most of them made with PVC type because it covers a large amount of chemical production. So when we say again body protection, again safety belts also. So where we discussed in IS 102 in the work at height. So it gives an the greater protection when people are working at height. So when we say working at height, what is the minimum height? We say working at height. Any guess? When we say work at height,
Above 2 meters.
okay, okay, 1.8 meter and above will be considering as work at height. There we use the full body harness. Now we'll see some of the preventive measures apart from using these PPEs. So we should have frequent skin washing using the appropriate cleaners. Apart from using these PPEs, definitely there will be some sort of exposure with these chemicals. So definitely we have to clean our body on frequent intervals. Then changing contaminated clothing and washing and drying the clothes properly. So not necessarily, but your work clothing should be washed whenever it gets contaminated, so that we can take out the chemicals from the clothings. The removal of irritants and chemicals, including oils, by effective washing using the shower bath or eye washers or fountains. Sometimes what will happen, accidentally, you would have exposed or contaminated the chemicals. Immediately, you can go to the showers and you can decontaminate. Then wash immediately cuts, scraps or punctures, etc. Apply and antiseptic bandages and also skin medical advice. So whenever you have any wounds in the workplace, you have to clean it immediately. You have to apply an antiseptic or any a bandage, so that we can avoid the exposure to the chemicals. As I said in our previous discussions, the injuries are a major prone, or the injuries are easy way of a chemical can enter into our body. The use of the PP is to protect the skin, fingers, foot, and body. Selection of proper goggles and gloves, footwear, aprons, overall clothing is important. Avoid the loose clothing, exposure to the skin or body parts from the moving machineries and high temperatures and toxic chemicals. So it is very important. In the characteristics also we have discussed the fitting of the PPE. How a PPE is fitting to the wearer. When I say wearer, who is using it, ఎవరైతే ఆ స్పెసిఫిక్ పీపీని వాడుతున్నారో వాళ్ళకి ఎలా అది ఫిట్ అయింది. సో విత్ సింపుల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఐ టోల్డ్ యూ ఎస్టర్డే ఆల్సో, వాట్ ఎవర్ ద సైజ్ ఆఫ్ ద పీపీ. సో ఇఫ్ యూ ఆర్ గివింగ్ apron or coverall, the person's size is small or medium, you are giving an extra large, then it is becoming a loose clothing. So when I say loose clothing, what will happen, it will be result in a entanglement of any rotating parts or any moving parts. That's why whenever you choose, you definitely have to look for all the characteristics of an PP. Then barrier creams to protect against the dermatitis or lubricants, solvents, or hydrocarbons. So this is also important. So in our OHCs, based on your chemicals, you have to have a barrier creams to protect against this dermatitis. When I say barrier creams, I can give you a general example: sunscreen lotions to help us from the UV radiation from the sun to avoid the tanning and skin burns, etc. So same way you can have a few set of barrier creams, so that we can able to protect the exposure from the solvents and other hydrocarbons. Okay, that's all about non-respiratory. Now we talk about respiratory. So when I say respiratory, it is purely talk about how you are protecting your lungs. So lungs, in the sense, that's where the oxygen or chemical or whatever, it is the one of the area where a chemical can enter into our human body. As we seen, there are four major entries or types a chemical can enter into our body. One is through the skin, which is nothing but absorption. A simple example is we use gels for the, I think, Jandu bomb. That is a basic example for the headache. When we are in young ages, Jandu bomb is very famous nowadays as well. So we are applying Zendu balm for an headache. So how it is working on our problem, through the absorption. Chemical can enter the absorption. And other one is inhalation, the topic which we are now discussing. So inhalers. So for the kids, we used to give inhalers, even uh, small inhalers also there when you affect with the cold. That is the one type of entry of a chemical. And third entry, which is again we can take as an example of a tablet, that is ingestion. You are taking through your mouth. It is a oral ingestion or oral absorption. And fourth one, which is injection, when you take a medicine through your muscle or through your nerves, that is injection. One is absorption, inhalation, ingestion, injection. These are the four ways of a chemical can enter. When we talk about gender bomb, will be through skin absorption, inhalers through your breathing, nostril tract, ingestion, which are tablets or syrups which we consume through our mouth. And fourth one, injections, which we take through the nerves or through your muscle tissues. These are the four entries of a chemical. So for the other three, we talk about the physical, non-respiratory PPs, but few are applicable. The respiratory, which is purely talks about the air which you are breathing in your atmosphere. So basically, respiration is an act of inhaling fresh air into the lungs and exhaling the stale air from them. When we breathe in and out, our chest cavity housing the lungs and also expands and contracts. The entire rib cage and covering around the chest is flexible and also expands rapidly by special muscles. So when you breathe, your chest muscles, the rib cage will have a, it is also works as a suspension kind of thing. It can enlarge and it can compress, where it will have some kind of flexibility on our rib muscles. So we use an inhale fresh air, we can leave out the exhaled air along with the carbon dioxide. Again, if you see the again this classification, so based on the type of hazard, which worker is exposed to the basis of selection, right type of respiratory protective equipment. Again, a type of hazard, we should choose the type of PPE. Again, if you see in respiratory hazards, so basically they are normally recognized, or toxic metals can enter into our body, as we see in gastro intestinal tract or skin or lungs. So now we'll be focusing on lungs. So this because the respiratory system's direct relationship with the circular system and also constant need to oxygenate tissues, cells to sustain life. So if you have to leave for our internal organs, the oxygen is very much required. For external organs, the internal organs are the main engine to function our external organs. So the respiration protection is utmost important at our workplace. Now we'll see different types of PPs. When we say the classification or types of respirators, basically they are two. So one is air supplying or air purifier respirators. So when we talk about air supplying respirators, it includes airline respirators or self-breathing or air or oxygen apparatus, suction hose mask or pressure hose mask, or air purifying respirators includes canisters, cartridge or filter respirators which need replacement of these parts. So there are two types. One is air supplying, air purifying. When I say air supplying, it is directly in a breathable air or oxygen. So there is need not have any filtration. అంటే ఏంటంటే ఎయిర్ సప్లైంగ్లో ఏం చెప్తాము, డైరెక్ట్గా మీకు ఏదైతే సప్లై మీ మాస్క్లోకి వస్తుందో దాన్ని మనం డైరెక్ట్గా పీల్చుకోవచ్చు. సో దానికి అక్కడ స్పెషల్గా ప్యూరిఫై చేయటము అలాంటిది ఏమీ ఉండదు. వెన్ సే ఎయిర్ ప్యూరిఫైయింగ్, యు ఆర్ టేకింగ్ ఎయిర్ ఫ్రమ్ ఇన్ ది ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ అట్మాస్ఫియర్, the mask or the filters which are separating or filtering the contaminants or airborne contaminants in the inhaled air, then it will give you the fresh air to your lungs. That is the basic difference. The supplied air is, you have a specific setup, you have airline fresh airline system or oxygen cylinders. In the purifying system, you will completely depend on the mask which you are using. Okay. Yes. Now we start with air supplying respirators. In that we have airline respirators. Basically, this airline respirator consists of a face piece which is half or full. So when I say half, it is only to your mouth. When we say full, it is a kind of complete hood. So full or half face mask or loose fitting helmet or a hood to which air is supplied through a small diameter hose. It may be a continuous flow type or demand type. So when we say continuous, it will keep on coming. When we say demand, whenever you inhale, then only the air will come in. So continuous
Kava.
and range of continuous ga air anadi. Sorry,
Kava.
any question?
Self-contained breathing apparatus. Kava.
SCBA, yeah, SCABA, self-contained breathing apparatus. That is then again basically it is in a demand type actually. Whenever you inhale, so it will supply an air. There also again we have two types. I think hopefully we'll cover tomorrow. Open loop and closed loop. We'll discuss. So when we say demand type, whenever it is required, it will come in. So basically, in the context of continuous flow type, the air is supplied continuously to the face piece, helmet or hood. Air on the excess air entering to the face piece escapes to the atmosphere, and the air supplied should be at least 110 liters per minute to enter the face piece, at least 170 liters per minute to enter into the helmet hood. This is the minimum requirement, and then 10 liters of air it should enter into your face piece. So whichever the amount which you require, you will inhale, and rest will be which will mix it to the, and I mean it will go to the atmosphere. So whenever where it is used, so these kind of supplied air respirators are used at the abrasive blasting. When I say abrasive blasting, shot or sandblasting. Sandblasting it is banned in India. So shot blasting, wherever you do a shot blasting, this respirator is a continuous flow type airline respirator, in which addition of mechanical protection for the head and neck from the abrasion particles. It covers the shoulder and chest also. So basically, I think I have captured an image. I'll just show you. Not this one. So basically, it will be till up to your shoulders. You will have, I think you can see this image. I'll just enlarge it. So this is a kind of mask with a helmet. You will have hood until your chest area. You will have a rubber sheet so that it can protect you from the abrasion material. When I say abrasion material, aluminum oxide mostly they use as an abrasion material. So previously, the people used to use abrasion material as sand. Now aluminum oxide, aluminum shots or aluminum grit, they use as an abrasion material. When I say abrasion material, it is replacing simply oxygen. Sorry, sand. Then in pressure demand type, we have seen continuous type. When we say demand type, again here the air is supplied to the face piece, it is nothing but the hood or the helmet. When the wearer inhales and the rate is governed by his volume rate of the breathing, the air from an air compressed cylinder is supplied to the face piece through a demand valve which is uh, acute by the slight negative pressure created when the wearer inhales. So basically, whenever you inhale, there it creates a negative pressure, which means creates a vacuum. So resulting the demand valve will supply the air from the cylinder. Once you exhale, the demand valve closes. The exhaled air escapes to the surrounding atmosphere through the exhalation valve. The helmets or hoods are not used with the demand type respirators. So whenever it is not having any demand type respirators, the exhaled air will escape automatically. So it is in a, when as mentioned, SCBA sets, these also demand type. The closed loop, when I say closed loop, the exhaled air also will be again filtered again again it is send it back for the wearer to consume that air. Again, here the airline respirators provide protection so long as the air supply is maintained, but the wearer travel is restricted by the length and also air supply hoses. So, until unless you're having the supply of amount of air, a person can be there and he can work aram se. But it have a limitation of the supply hose. Maximum it will have, I think, if I'm not wrong, 30 feet or 30-meter length. So more than that, the distance you can't take this or use this respirator. And also they are not used in the IDLH atmosphere. What is mean by IDLH atmosphere? Anybody? IDLH atmosphere and AND.
Immediate death and life in our
Okay. IDLH means immediate danger to life and health. అంటే దానివల్ల ఏంటంటే మనకి ఇమీడియట్గా ప్రమాదం జరగవచ్చు. అంటే మనం చనిపోవచ్చు, కొన్నిసార్లు లేదు అంటే మనకి అనారోగ్య పరిస్థితులు అనేవి ఎదురవ్వచ్చు దానివల్ల. సో వీటిని ఆ అంటే ఆ అట్మాస్ఫియర్స్లో మనము యూజ్ చేయకూడదు. అగైన్ ద ఎయిర్ temperature and pressure should be comfortable, and the air should be supplied through an air cleaner. Care should be taken to ensure that the air supply is respirable and also it is not contaminated and is free from the obstacles or odors, oil, water, mist, and also rust particles from the supply line. So in industries also, you would have seen breathing airline systems. So there we have it is there in the compressors due to the moisture and all. Sometimes you will get some moisture content also, water droplets, even dust also. So we should be take appropriate care. It should not give any odor. I mean any bad smell or etc. It should be free from oil or should be free from water mist. And also it should be free from the rust or dust particles. And the airline connection should be tight, non-detachable, and also should be checked before the use. One worker died due to the detachment of airline supply when he was working in oxygen deficient atmospheres, 90% of nitrogen to fill the pyrophoric catalyst in a reactor. So this is an example. So the connections are very important. I think, if I'm not wrong, close to 8 9 years back, a person entered into the reactor. Instead of breathing air line, they have connected to the nitrogen line while working in clean rooms or in a reactor in a pharma industry. The person got died immediately because nitrogen is an odorless. You can't judge it before you are noticing that you are breathing nitrogen. You will die. So it is very important, even marking or signages, labeling of your pipelines. When I say pipeline, again we have a color code for the pipeline, IS 2379. There, the standard will give us guidance on how you can color code your pipelines with respect to the chemicals or water, drainage, then airline, drinking water, etc., etc. So it is very important. And also the connections. So the way you have connected, it has to be cross-checked before use. Sometimes what will happen, you will say your friend, अरे बाबा आप कनेक्ट कर ले, अभी हम जा रहे हैं क्योंकि supervisor का pressure. So he will forgot, he didn't connect it properly, but you entered into an atmosphere which is what do you call, I'm not getting the word, inert atmosphere. Yeah, inert atmosphere, which means the atmosphere which is created to avoid any fire and explosion due to the, there we have a catalyst. So in the inert atmospheres, you should not take any risk because there it is 95% of nitrogen. If you are not getting any supply immediately because of 95%, you will not have